Hey everybody, welcome back to TCBD Dead Talk, whatever.
Whatever.
TCBD, two comic book dudes, TCBD, Dead Talk, into the Badlands. We're talking about season 1, episode 3 this week. Great show. I have, hands down, this is one of the best shows I'm watching right now. I really like Walking Dead, but this is just such a different, new concept.
This is just fun. You don't know what's going to happen, who's going to be introduced. Like, we got a really cool character that was pretty, I don't know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm excited to see what she does next episode, because she's in the preview for next week.
Yeah, for sure. There's some good stuff. It's pretty good. So, we have the main characters. We have Quinn, who's the Baron of the poppy fields. He resides in the fort, kind of a plantation type setting. He's like the lord of the plantation, the plantation master. He's got his slaves who work the poppy fields. We have the widow, who up until partway through this episode controlled the oil fields and the oil that everybody needs to do their thing. We've also got introduced in this episode, at least by name, Jacoby, who is another one of the barons. We don't know exactly what he controls yet, but that's where the widow is going, right? To Jacoby?
No.
Somebody's going to Jacoby to form an alliance. Oh, I'm sorry, it's in my notes. We'll get there. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the Baron.
Quinn.
Our Baron.
Okay.
Yeah, Quinn. That's why he sends Sonny. Well, I mean,
yeah, I know.
We're with Sonny, so
yeah, and that's the thing. I think we're going to have everybody kind of move into their, I support this, Team Baron, Team Widow, or Team Widow, whatever. So, but yeah, I think I'm Team Sonny right now, regardless of who he sides with. He serves the Baron out of loyalty and honor, but that's wearing pretty thin, I think, right now. So
yeah.
Sonny is what they call a Clipper, and he's actually a regent. He's like a leader of the Clippers, and they're enforcers for the Barons. They're bodyguards, they're army, they're everything. And they have under them Colts, who are the young boys. And I like the way that Waldo explains what a Colt is, and we'll get to that here in a little while. There's also some secondary characters. You've got Vale, who is Sonny's girlfriend. Call it baby mama, whatever you want to call her, which is very important because that relationship is really not allowed by the code. He's not allowed to have a family as a Clipper, and he's pushing forward with that anyway because of some things that happened last episode. We've got Quinn has one wife and one soon-to-be wife. Lydia, right? Who that's where I get the Lydia from. See, she's not dead. Lydia is the Baroness, and she's the Baron's current wife. And then Jade is the woman that he's also going to marry because he can have multiple wives. Why not? It's good to be the king. Then Ryder is his son. And we find out a little bit about why there's such a rift between Quinn and Ryder in this. Quinn seems to be that son that he just doesn't have any respect for. He doesn't he doesn't care about him anymore. And I think that's kind of why he's after Jade, to marry her and then sire a new child and have hopefully have a son, Who else? MK. MK is one of is really a focal character because MK is this kid who, in the beginning, the Baroness had paid some nomads to find. He has special powers. Whenever he bleeds, then these powers come out, and he becomes this fighting machine that he can't control. That's interesting. And the widow, it was the wife of a former baron who died.
That she may or may not have killed.
Right. We don't know for sure. Her real name is...
Start with an M?
Matilda?
No.
Melinda?
No.
Minerva.
Yeah.
We'll get it eventually. Her real name's Minerva. And it was actually mentioned in both last episode and this episode. This episode by Quinn when he goes to see her and kick the crap out of her, or attempt to. Yeah, and that that whole scene, I was like, nah, they can't kill her off. um, and then her daughter Tilda, who is basically trained to fight from birth, and she's pretty wicked. We also have, was it Angelica, who's a secondary character, but she's gone now. So
one of the other girls.
Yeah, and Waldo and Rico, I think is the other guy, the tattoo artist, Rico.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of different characters to get to know. But if you focus on basically Sunny, Quinn, the widow, and MK, you kind of have the gist of what's going on. So Sunny is longing for, like escape from the Badlands. This whole storyline's a post-apocalyptic kind of story, but it's almost like there's been some kind of a we've talked about EMP, but we don't know exactly what it is that caused everything. We know there's no electronics really. There are cars, but they're older cars, and then there's
the motorcycles. But they look like they've been modified in some way. They don't look like motorcycles. Yep. There are no guns, so it's just blade weapons. Or I haven't even really seen like bows and arrows or crossbows.
No, nothing like
hand to hand and bladed weapons.
Yep. And they talk about a code, and they talk about some other things. So maybe there's been kind of a law of the land put down that this is how you fight. You don't fight with guns. You don't fight with flails or whatever else. You just fight with swords, and that's it. Swords and knives. So I don't know. It's interesting. So anyway,
but the girls they
got throwing stars.
Throwing stars.
That's all pretty awesome. Yep. Still bladed weapons.
Yeah, true.
True. Yep. So we're moving into episode 3. At this point, we've had the widow. So we started off with Ryder, who is the son of Quinn, but he's also sleeping with Jade, Quinn's soon-to-be new wife, and they're conspiring against everything. Despite what Quinn wants, Ryder's doing something else. Quinn says, "Don't touch the widow." Ryder says, "Let's kill her." And so last episode, there was a big fight, tried to kill her. So she immediately retaliated, ambushed Quinn and Sunny, hung Quinn for a good, 2 or 3 minutes. And he's still, at the beginning of this episode, in a coma, not recovering very well. And they just don't know what to do. So they'd call the doctor, but the Baron kind of did away with them last episode because the Baron's having issues with a tumor in his head, and it's going to kill him. Yeah, it is a tumor. It's going to kill him.
Black mass on his X-ray. It's amazing that they have an X-ray machine.
I know. I don't know how that works. So that's kind of interesting. That was one thing that was like, oh, how did you work that? Was it like you have to crank it really hard?
They didn't show it. It was like a different. It's like I don't know. But yeah.
Well, if you think about something like that, though, all it takes is film exposure to radiation. So if you have something set up where you just release the panel and like expose, quick exposure, you would take the picture. So that might be how they did it. Wouldn't need necessarily electronics. It would just expose the film, pull the film out, and there you go. Of course, you'd be that'd be a precious commodity. Yeah. Not everybody would get to get X-rays.
It looked like an X-ray slide.
It did, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we definitely have some technology, but it's very, very limited, very restricted, and especially held back for the higher level people in the world. The more important people.
What do they call them? Cogs.
Cogs are the lower, and I don't remember what she said the higher level was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, cogs, they were kind of the people, just the cogs of the machine. Yep, cogs of the machine. So as everything's going, basically Quinn goes to take out the widow, attacks her house. One thing about this is MK is told to wait outside. He sneaks inside and he takes this book. And the book has a symbol on it for Azra, which is his home. And he takes that book. Now, the widow notices that it's gone. And I don't know how she noticed it just on her way out the door, but she did notice it was gone. It's kind of weird.
She fought all through that room, so.
Yeah, yep. And then Tilda is leading the girls out through the passageway, and she sees MK in the room there. So she knows that he took the book, but she doesn't tell her mom later on, which is kind of interesting. So Tilda had helped MK earlier and kind of helped him escape. And so I think now she's kind of feeling bad for that. She's kind of feeling okay about that. But I think there's a lot of these things where people are questioning their own loyalties, and something's going to go down. We don't know what, but yeah. There's just some, again, awesome fight choreography here. I've talked about that in previous episodes. The fight between the Widow and Quinn is just really cool again. Not as good as Sonny's fights, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, it was some good blade work there.
Yeah, they fight through a couple different rooms, and
and this is all flying in like Quinn's retaliation for the attack on his son and Sonny. So
yep. And it all comes down to him ready to drive the blade home, and then all of a sudden his head's like, and he falls to the side, and then she escapes. So he's already feeling weak. He's already feeling exposed because of this whole thing with the tumor in his head, and now it's taken away a victory, and so he's even worse off. He comes back home as Jade and the Baroness are sitting there with Ryder, and as he walks in, instead of even going in to see his son, he goes right to Jade, and they start having sex in the next room. So you got Ryder and his mom, and then the two of them in the other room. So that's really nice. But it was interesting because before Lydia had said to Jade, a Baron's home is a battlefield. A Baron's home is not his castle, it's a battlefield.
Right.
And that's I see a lot of, if you want to say influences or whatever, Game of Thrones type stuff. You got a lot of the political intrigue that you see in that, or other kind of shows like that, that make this really an interesting story, more than just a hack and slash kind of series. It's got some deep,
there's deep, actual substance to this, not just surface fight.
Yep. Yeah, I really like that about it. Let's see. Sonny takes MK. I love the training session. He takes him up on this wall and he puts him there, heels hanging off the wall. Stay there, he says, and he starts walking away. He's like, "This is stupid." Starts mouthing off, and he walks back over and he's like, "This is your lesson." He's like, "What's the lesson about it?" He's like, "Push you off." Yeah. So I thought that was hilarious. And he's like, "Get up, get back up there." So that's kind of funny. He is trying to train him. I mean, he's never taken a colt before, which so he takes Sonny. So we got a cut here because Jade goes to see Vale at this point, and we learn a little bit about their background. Jade and Vale knew each other as kids, and now Vale is a cog physician. Basically she just takes care of the lower level people, the workers in the fields and that kind of stuff, while Jade lives in the palace or whatever. So they're the Prince and the Pauper kind of world or whatever. But she basically comes to ask Vale's help to take care of Ryder, to help with Ryder. And of course Vale's very wary about it because she doesn't want to have the whole situation going on between her, the Baron, and finding out about her and Sonny and all that.
Right. Plus, she knows the Baron killed her parents.
Right. Which she's not supposed to let slip, because then that means Sonny told her, because only Sonny knew about it.
Right.
So, yeah. And then at the end of their conversation, I think the way Jade says, "I need you to help him," that Vale sees that there's something going on between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
More than just mother-son love.
Right.
It's mother-son love.
Well, she's not married to the Baron.
No, right. That's true. But she's definitely playing both sides against the middle. So, so Vale has an inkling there's something going on there. Then when we see MK and Sonny going out to meet Waldo, and Waldo we met last episode. He's the old man in the wheelchair that was playing with the birds, and who also played the general in Avatar, the guy in the big walking machine thing. Yeah. Yep. So, and he played the general in something else too, some grizzled old war chief kind of guy. I don't remember, but
he's got that look.
Yeah, but he played in some other movie that I remember seeing. I was like, oh, that's cool because that's the same guy. But anyway, yeah, he's got a good voice and he's got a good demeanor for that kind of thing. So he basically he was the regent and Sonny was his cult. So that was kind of interesting that Sonny brings MK here to meet this guy. And MK's like, he's in a wheelchair. What can he do?
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to kick his ass. So it's pretty funny.
He learns a valuable lesson.
Yes. And then he explains, he says, do you know why we call the boys colts? And he says, because they're like wild horses, they have to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. That's an interesting way of putting it. So, then Vale shows up at the Baron's palace, whatever. I don't know what's called. The plantation house. It's called something, right?
The house.
Whatever. And basically says, hey, we got to drill a hole in Ryder's head because his brain swelled. And I was like, oh, you're not going to do that. Like witchcraft, burn the witch.
If we don't do it, he's dead by tonight. So choose.
Make your mind up. So she drills a hole and he's better. Within just a few hours, it looks like he wakes up. So that's pretty cool. We have that going on while the widow and her group find a new place to stay, sanctuary. The Baron steps in to thank Vale, and you kind of have these, like, are they sexual overtones that he's making to her?
Creepy.
He is just a creepy guy. Yeah. The way he talks, the way he is. I mean, he's just like oily, greasy, sliding around, doing stuff, and it's just weird. But the actor is awesome. The part is just a creepy part, for sure. But as he's thanking Vale, Ryder wakes up. And the first thing that, instead of going, oh, son, you're feeling better, it was, who set you up? He just wants to know, who do I fight a drink of water? Right. Who do I go kill?
Right.
So, Sonny goes to Rico. Every time he had killed somebody in the past, he'd gotten a tattoo. You can see in the picture behind us here all the tattoos, the hash marks for every person he's killed. And Rico said, do I need to do any more? And he goes, no, I'm not going to have that anymore. And he's like, why? He says, I'm not keeping score. So I thought that was interesting. Just a change. There's a lot of changes for Sonny. I mean, he's going to have a kid, which he's not supposed to have. He's made the decision to have that family and try to escape. He's not keeping score anymore. He's taken on a cult, which he's never done. So a lot of things changing in his life, not to mention the fact that he's seen his Baron basically betray everything that he thought he stood for in killing the doctors because they knew about his secret. So pretty bad. But Ryder gives up Angelica from the TikTok club, one of the dolls, one of the prostitutes, and basically Sonny and MK are supposed to go and take her out. But when they get there, Tilda's there, and Tilda is, like we said, the widow's daughter. So MK and her kind of face off and not really fight or anything. They just kind of like stop each other while Sonny's chasing Angelica, and Angelica gets her. I mean, she's a good fighter. She slashes him deep there in the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
But in the end, she says, "You can't stop her, and you can't stop me." And then she backward swan dives off of the third-story balcony or whatever and dies.
Catches her head like on a barrel, and then falls to the ground. Because you can see the blood on the barrel.
Yep, it's pretty gross.
Yep.
But in that way, she doesn't give up the widow. She doesn't give up any of the plans. She can't be tortured. So that was smart of her, even though she died. So, Sonny heads back to Vale to get stitched up. Lydia, though, knows about Ryder's plan and the fact that he had the widow attacked, and she's not happy about that. And she says to him, I've always stood up for you. I've always supported you. I've always backed you, even when you were an idiot. Not anymore.
Yep, you're on your own.
And I think that's the worst wound to him of everything he's been through so far, that the fact that his mother, who's been with him through all of this, she talks about all the things that she did for him. When he was gone, the nomads took him and beat him and cut him up and crippled him. That's what happened to his foot, because part of his foot's like cut off.
Most of his toes.
Yeah. But all of that, she was there for him. She helped him. She supported him. And now she's like, you've made your bed, dude. You're done. I'm done with you. I washed my hands of you, you know.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think, too, she kind of knows something's going on between him and Jade. And, you know, nothing happens in that house I think the Baroness doesn't know about.
Right.
So she's pretty connected. So we know now the other barons, you know, with Quinn taking out the widow and kind of putting her on the run, he's taken over her oil fields. And the Baroness is like, yeah, but that spreads out your clippers, and now you look weak. And the other barons are not happy about this. They want things back to normal like they were before. And so basically, they send Sonny out to meet up with Zephyr, who was a clipper from one of the other barons who he used to have a relationship with. It's kind of interesting. So we're learning a little bit about his background.
She was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
She had a cool car.
Yeah, I'd like to see him fight.
Yeah, well, and like I said, apparently we're going to get to see something. We're going to get to see her in action. I didn't see if Sonny was around her or whatever, but in like the little preview for next week's episode.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We do see her in a fight sequence.
So things kind of, you know, basically stall there as far as negotiations, because Sonny's like, no, I'm not going to do anything. And she's like, well, you know, maybe we can work something out. And he's like, what do you have in mind? And she's like, and he said, nah, I don't want that. She's like, fine, whatever. You know, I felt like she was like a cat, turning around, putting her tail up, going, well, if you want it, though, it's right over here, you know.
You want me to do something for you? I can be, you know. But
yeah, I can be very persuasive.
Take that information back to her baron. So.
Right. Yep. So that was just an interesting situation there, because he's proving his loyalty to Vale in that, because she said, who is she? You know, is it serious? I didn't know you were allowed to do that. You know, you're kind of going against everything. So, yeah. The widow, of course, we talked about before, she knows the book was taken. She's questioned Tilda about that. Quinn's looking over his brain scans and hides them in a safe. So they're there. Somebody could get in that safe and find them. MK goes to see Vale. And this is kind of where the episode wraps up. He goes to see Vale because she could read, and he wants her to interpret the book. And she can't read it. She said, it's some language I don't understand. Yeah. So
it is not English.
Right. Or whatever language they
earlier looked like English.
Yeah, that's true. So so that's interesting. You know, so there's the language she doesn't understand. So what does that mean? You know, what are these people outside of the Badlands? And maybe this is indicative of why, you know, why does he have powers? Why are they aliens? Are they something else? We don't know. But then the Baron shows up and spoils everything. Not really, but he shows up and he's all oozy and greasy, and you know, I'm thinking he's gonna go, you know, I'll help you if you help me, but it's not that kind of thing. It's just his way. He's just oozy, and he basically says, you know, you helped Ryder, now help me.
Yep.
And so, you know, I think we're going to have this whole thing where he's going to tell her, here's the problem I have. I need you to help me with it. And she's going to be like, I can't do brain surgery. And he's going to be like, oh, then I'll have to kill you. And then Sonny's not going to stand for that.
Wouldn't that be like the ultimate way for her to get revenge, though? It's like,
true.
Yeah, I'll do the surgery. I'll be able to help you.
Yep. Oops. Where did that fork come from? Why did I stick that in your brain?
I drilled too far in. Oh, no.
It came out your other ear. Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think it's, what is it? The barber. There was a story. The story's called Just Lather. That's all. It's an older story written about a barber, and he's basically a barber for all of these mafia guys. Okay. And the cops come to him, and they want, and I can't remember who wrote it, and if you know who, put it in the comments for me. I really appreciate that. But basically, he's told to just kill this guy. When he comes in, you're shaving him, just slit his throat, because he's a bad guy. He's done all this bad stuff. We need your help taking him out. If you take him out, everybody will be good. And the whole time he's just agonizing over this, because he says, I'm just a barber. I don't want blood on my hands, just lather. That's all. And so it's kind of that mantra, I don't want blood on my hands, just lather. That. So then in the way, got this doctor now. Does she want that guilt of having killed this guy, even though he killed her parents? Is she that kind of person?
Right.
So but I guess we'll see.
The other thing, when Sonny met with Zephyr, she gave him that offer that the other Baron said if he would clip.
Quinn,
then Sonny could become the Baron and take his place, and they would all be okay with that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's there's a lot of plays, and I think that's one thing. We're in the 3rd episode. Everything's up in the air. Nothing is. We don't know enough about Sonny to really know what kind of person he is. We don't know enough about Vale to know what kind of person she is. So we don't know where things are going to go. I think there'd be some real problems if he were to clip the Baron. If he were to clip Quinn, I think the Baroness would definitely have something to say about it. She's not going to give up her place.
I'm pretty sure he would have to clean the house.
Yep.
People.
That would mean all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Jade included. So yeah, I don't know that that's going to go over well. So we'll see. For now, I think his main focus is just to protect Vale and get them out of the Badlands, because he's really trying to hold up his promise to MK. We'll see. See how that goes. But this series is going to be continuing. I don't know if this will be on at 9 now, starting next week, since Walking Dead is off until February. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll watch this every week, and we'll do a review show for you for the next 3, or for the final 3 episodes of this season. There'll be a total of 6 episodes. Great show so far. Really been happy with it. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm like you said. I really like it. I mean, it's just something different.
Yeah,
and it's fun. Like, the story's good. You want to know what happens, and especially because we know it's only 6 episodes. We're getting a lot more. If this was a 20-episode run or something, it would be very slow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, think about the first season of Walking Dead and how much happened in those first 6 episodes. Yeah. And how it really punched through. I mean, there was a ton of stuff, and people died, and things happened, and it's the same kind of thing. You're punching stuff through in this first season. You want to set up enough of a world where people are interested and want to come back to it, and they've done a good job so far. I mean, really, if we go every episode now introducing one new Baron, we still won't have them all by the end of the season. So we know about Jacoby, but we don't know really who he is or what he runs, what he supports. And we know then there are 8 Barons total. So there's still 5 Barons we've never heard of yet. Right. So we'll find out. Maybe there'll be some more in the next episode as we start to see this council of Barons come together and, push back against the things that Quinn's doing. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yep. And if you're interested in any more about this, there's a digital comic on AMC's website.
That's right.
Badlands, you go check that out.
Yeah, I think the 3rd issue just came out this week. There's 1 issue every week with the show. So, cool. Yep. And I can't remember who's doing it, but somebody I was talking to mentioned that they were working on the comic. So, you have it up there?
Yeah, this week's issue is the story of Sonny's first kill.
Who writes it and who draws it?
It is Matt Okamura.
Okay.
The writer. Consulting producer is Justin Doble.
No artist, though?
Ellis does the inks and colors. Letters, cover, development, but there's no actual, artists. There's a producer, Clayton Newman.
Okay.
So.
That's cool. All right. Well, yeah, check that out. Let us know what you think. Leave us some comments, share, subscribe. Definitely let us know if you like this or don't like this. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews. A lot of people are saying it's excellent. I love it. Justin, you really like it.
Yep.
I haven't actually talked to anybody who didn't like it. But I've talked to people who are kind of down on it because of the way AMC has set it up. Basically, Walking Dead, than Into the Badlands, but then forcing you to watch the first few minutes of Into the Badlands in order to see the preview for the next season. It's like, whatever. I mean,
or that are they saying that, or because you got to wait to watch The Talking Dead?
yeah, who cares? Nobody likes that anyway.
I don't watch that show, so I don't understand.
No, people do love that show though for some reason.
I don't.
Why
care.
would you?
I don't watch it.
Why would you want to sit around and watch a couple guys talk about The Walking Dead?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Or any show for that matter. I mean, geez.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I don't watch that show because I get on the computer. But I never watched it before anyway, so I don't know.
I didn't either. I always turn it off. Chris Hardwick, I don't know what it is about him, but that man just annoys me.
Yeah.
So, and if he's watching, well, if he's watching and he'd like to be on our show, though, definitely let us know. That way I can tell him he's annoying to his face.
Yeah.
So, definitely like, share, subscribe. We appreciate it. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think about the show, about our show, about any of the shows that you watched. You never know. Maybe I'll come up with something cool to give away.
That would be cool.
Yep. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.